Hello, Kajimmertashif. You're all very welcome. Marcas and Murchú here, going to play a few tunes on the tin whistle for you. Hope you enjoy them. They're a couple of very old jigs. The first one is called Biddy from Sligo, and I got this from Princess Umweenie, who is a fiddler, was a fiddler from Gweedore in Donegal, who had learnt it from Neely Boyle, a great fiddler from Crooknashallog in County Donegal. Now, this forms part of a set of 3 tunes that I put together for you, and the first tune goes like this. Now, while I was playing that, you heard me play a few ornamentations and things. I'll break those down and go through them for you. And that tune there, that lovely little jig, Biddy from Sligo, starts off with that F note there, so you can use your E finger to ornament it. Then you can, what was I doing there? Well, using the D finger down, the B finger up. What I'm doing there is using my F finger. You hear this one? Now, you don't have to do that all the time. Usually just play it simply through the first time, and then maybe the second or third time you could play the ornamentations. Usually it's good if your friends adopt the same policy that you would play it as simply as possible. For example, you play Now, I'm going to play it slowly, as you can hear, but what I want you to do is hum along with it so that you can get the tune in your head. So there's no use trying to play a tune unless you enjoy the tune and you have it in your head and try to join in. Just hum it first, or if you have your whistle, your D whistle. play it really, really slow one final time. Lovely. I hope you're getting it in your head now. That's Biddy from Sligo. And it's a lovely old tune, a lovely old jig, which a fiddle player called Neely Boyle from a place called Clonashallock outside Dunglow in County Donegal. He would be the grandfather of Katie Boyle, who plays in a great group with Joni Madden and some other great female musicians called Cherish the Ladies. And he'd be the father of Hughie Boyle, who's an incredibly gifted accordion player. Well, he lived in Philadelphia and he passed this tune on through his records, and I got it through a man from Gweedore who had listened to those records and knew Neely Boyle and the family. A man called Princess O'Weeny, the father of the renowned fiddle player Mairead Weeny from Gweedore. So this tune, you don't have to play it too fast, you know, to have life in it. Remember I told you earlier about the rolling the E there, using the F. You have your F finger down, rolling your E finger. Try that a little bit. Do you hear it? Sounds like a peewit, doesn't it? Sounds like a little bird that'll curlew, or a plover. I'd say a lot of the music came from birds probably originally back, but that's a day for another day. Being in advanced class, you should be watching my fingers here. I have them all down except the B finger. But what I'm doing there is try that. It's a sort of wee back cran there, an ornamentation. B finger up. And what you're using are these fingers here to make the... You're actually lifting the G finger and the F finger. So it's that finger there, that finger. Now, you can get a great rhythm into this, as well as the ornamentation. So your idea here, you're searching to have the ornamentation in without complicating it too much and throwing yourself and your friends off. And usually, as I said earlier, it'd be nice just to play it straight the first way through. You know, you were playing, but then you play it the second time, you know, you played it right through, etc. So you've played A1, A1, A2, B1, B2, then you start it again. So you're starting A1 for the second time. You would and as if you were sort of marching down the road. Again, you're using G finger, B finger off. pause it for a little second, and I'm going to go back and I have two other tunes to give you. So if you just bear with me one little second. With traditional music, this is the second tune I'm going to teach you. With traditional music, it's very important to have tunes that go in sets. So we've just gone through the first tune, which is the Biddy from Sligo jig. After that, there's a lovely little tune from you have Sligo. The first one was from Donegal. The next one down is just go through Leitrim, along the coast there, and you're into County Sligo. And this tune came from John McKenna, fireman John McKenna, a legendary flute player, a neighbour of my own relations up in Arigna and Drumkeeran up in County Leitrim. So I'm going to play this tune. It's called Up Leitrim. Are you playing along? You shouldn't be. You should be listening if this is the first time you've heard it. Hum it in your head. So just hum it with me. Now, why I've chosen that tune as well too, apart from being a lovely little tune, it gives you a chance to play lovely clear notes. But to get an internal rhythm within those notes, to have a lovely, it's like a horse going up a road or you know, you going out for a march up the road yourself, you know, just feeling happy and playing along. So, that little jig, Up Leitrim, very, very simple. But what can you do After you've played it simply once or twice with your friends, you maybe introduce a little ornamentation. What are you doing? Again, you're rolling, using the E finger, F finger down, and that back cut again, that little, lifting the B finger and using your G finger down, your A finger down, but using your F finger. It's actually the F fingers making that music. It's that finger there. You mightn't see it, but see what I'm doing now? If you have a fiddle or a flute playing, instead of, I was just playing. In other words, those ornamentations you did earlier on, you've now, because you've ornamented that particular part of the first part of the A part of the tune, you leave it out the next time. I'll say that again. Irish music, when you're playing the A1 of a tune, and then you ornament the B part of it, you usually tend to leave that out the next time. Or if you've ornamented the A part of it, you leave it out the next time, or do a long note. For example, instead of, so what you're playing is, so what I've done, because I've done a little bit less ornamentation there, I've added a bit more just at the end to make it more interesting. You don't have to do this, but it's a possibility. The thing you don't want to do is put too much in. So you just want to put enough in to make it interesting to your audience and to your friends. So if you've played it, you might want to go, just playing the low octave there. High octave. There's a multitude, there's a proliferation of things you can do there to make it interesting. But when you're playing on your own, you can do whatever you want. But when you're playing with other people, usually what you tend to do is play it nice and simply the first time, second time, and then these ornamentations I would have got from John McKenna. John McKenna emigrated to America at the early part of the 20th century. And by about the early 1920s, he was one of the most prolific recorders of music, traditional music on the flute, that you will find. So a lot of these, Fireman John McKenna was known as, a lot of these great sets came down from John McKenna. So these, this jig and a jig after came from John. What am I doing there? All I'm doing is I'm just playing the low octave. But it's incredible, you know, it just gives a whole new color to it. Because you're going up in the B part, you're going up into the second octave, which is high, dotted notes. So nobody wants to hear dotted notes the whole time. So what you do is drop the octave. Now, you notice that finished on a D. That brings us into our next tune, which is part of a great set that John McKenna recorded back in America, back in the early 1920s. I have a particular gra, or a dive, as they say in Irish, for connection with him, for he knew my great-grandfather, who died in 1906, December 1906, and he remembered him when he played some of the tunes. He named a tune after McPartland's style, but these were the tunes that would have been played around our area. So the area that my grandparents, the McPartlands, came from, up around Arigna and Drumkeeran on the Leitrim, Roscommon, Sligo border. Now, that tune finished. So the next tune starts on that note. I'll play it slowly for you. You can hum it over until you get it in your head. That's it, hum it over. And all you do, when you've got the tune in your head, put more of a rhythm into it, more of a pulse into it. Bum 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 bum. That's called Clancy's Dream. That jig goes very, very well with Up Leitrim. He was recorded. Sometimes it's just called Clancy's Dream is just called McKenna's Jig. I think Patrick Street might have recorded under that name, but John would have called it Clancy's. Clancy, obviously, the name Clancy is associated with Willie Clancy from County Clare and the Willie Clancy Summer School. But the Clancys originally came from Rosclogher in County Leitrim, in Rosinver, just on the way between Bundoran and Manorhamilton. There's a castle there in the middle of Loch Melvin called Clancy's or McClancy's Castle, Rosclogher Castle. And it's very famous at the time of the Spanish Armada, but that's a story for another day. The Spanish stayed there during in the 1580s. But Clancy being a very popular name, obviously there'd be music in the family. The family would have been playing music, and this tune was handed down through the Clancys, and John McKenna got it. And we have it now. So that's Clancy's Dream. Now, ornamenting it. Again. Another thing you could try to do, just for a bit of fun with yourself, if you have a clock and you're playing along with the second hand going, the Mickey Mouse's second hand on the clock, what you do, just watch it going around and the seconds, follow the seconds, and see how long you can hold your breath as you do your ornamentations as well. It's a way of sort of self-discipline. And many times, one at the beginning. So you take a good deep breath. What you should do is drop your shoulders, give your head a good, loosen yourself up. Take a deep breath in and fill up your diaphragm. That's your stomach. Fill that up. And then as you play, gently push that in. And it'll help you breathe. It's like a balloon inside your stomach. So what you do is just fill it up with air. You're actually breathing with the rhythm of the tune. So the beautiful thing of having a couple of tunes learned together, such as Biddy from Sligo, Up Leitrim, and Clancy's, that it's like a passport. They talk about the passport they have for the Wide Atlantic Way and the passports you need to get because of COVID, etc., and the new border and the Irish Sea and all that sort of thing. You have a passport now to go and travel with other musicians, to meet other musicians, or if musicians come to travel to meet you, that at least you know what tunes you play. You have sets of tunes in common, because those tunes, especially the second ones, are very, very popular. The Leitrim, Up Leitrim, and Clancy Stream. So we'll try to put them all together now from the first one. Biddy from Sligo, that came from Neely Boyle's playing. So that's Biddy from Sligo, the jig that I learned from Princess O'Mooney from Gweedore, who got it from Neely Boyle. So that's a traditional tune there, handed down as 3 generations. And I also played it with Maireadny Weenie, Princess's daughter, so back in the 70s and 80s. So you could think about it, Neely Boyle, Princess O'Mooney, Maireadny Weenie, and myself now, and now yourselves. There's 5 generations. So that's what tradition means. So if you learnt the tune, you can go back and play it with Neely Boyle if you ever were able to make contact with him. He's up in heaven at the moment. But if there were a way of playing along with him, of course there is. You can play along with the 78s. What are 78s? They're old records. They're old recordings. But Neely Boyle, of Dunglow, County Donegal, is the man that we're talking about. The second tune, Up Leitrim, John McKenna's tune, sometimes just called McKenna's, or the one after, sometimes called McKenna's as well. Those are played all over Connacht, all over Galway, Leitrim, Roscommon, right up to that whole area. It's still, you know, if you go to the summer schools in Tubbercurry, for example, in the second week in July, or to Keju and around the same time, coming up to August, and in between times you have the Joe Mooney School up there as well too in Drumshambo, and before those you have the Willie Clancy School, and you have there's so many of them there. There's so many summer schools, but those are the ones that over the years that I've been involved with, at the beginning anyway of some of those schools at the very, very beginning, and still, even with the COVID and that, we're teaching online for some of them. But for the Willie Clancy, those are ways of meeting other musicians, and it's great to have tunes that you share in common. So those three jigs. There's so many things you can do with them. Keep them simple, first time round. Now, so you played it with your friends, second time around, third time around, you can be a bit more adventurous. What am I doing there? E finger again. And what did I do there at the end? I went, after playing Biddy from Sligo, I played Up Leitrim and then Clancy Stream, but I went back into Up Leitrim again. They're interchangeable, those last tunes. So if you prefer to play them, it's good to have a chat with your friends beforehand, and you can play them in that order. You know, you can play Biddy from Sligo, then you can play Clancy Stream, and then Up Leitrim, D, G, D. So you can have a bit of fun, or just, you know, a conversation. It's nice to talk through the tunes with your friends beforehand. That's the way, when I started off playing, people would always say, I'm talking when I was 16 or 17, and would always be, what do you play with this tune, or what comes after that tune, or what goes well with this tune. And it's nice to chat, because you get to know people as well too, and you find out a bit about them, rather than just maybe playing tunes, and playing tunes. It's nice to have a chat in between times. So I hope you're enjoying what you're learning today, folks, and those 3 jigs together, and maybe play them one more time for you over. And that's the Biddy from Sligo, the Up Leitrim, and Clancy Stream. So hope you enjoyed those. Those are 3 jigs that go quite well together, and that those will serve as a passport for you into sessions, and that you can play those. And you can play them, if you want to play them slower, that's fine. But I was playing them there, dance rhythm. You can easily play them a bit slower if you want. If you want to play. Thing about it is, you have to put a bit of bounce into them, or you lose the people that are listening. It's very important to have listeners, because if you play too fast, people might switch off. But it's good to bring your audience in, so it's nice to mix it up with a couple of planksties or polkas, or a slow air or a song as well in a session. But then to really raise it when you're playing jigs or reels or whatever, that it's nice to have that. And after a while, you and your friends will get to know what tunes you play together, because you will say, we'll play that set there, the Biddy from Sligo up Leitrim and Clancy Stream. So you'll be thinking of Sligo and Leitrim and a dream. So the next time you're travelling around Sligo and Leitrim, you might have these tunes in your head. You might be on your way to a fleadh somewhere, or you could be on your way from Connacht up to Ulster, up to Derry here to play along with the kids in Ballynagallach. Either way, that would be a lovely thing.